Press box. Like I said last week, the Ethiopian legend Kenenisa Bekele held the 5,000 meters world record for 16 years. He also held the 10,000 meters world record for 15 years in a space of 2 months. 2 months. Joshua Cheptegei smashed both of them, bringing the record home. I'm telling you. And everyone has been celebrating his big victories and his big records. Now, he is on the press box tonight. Joshua, first of all, good evening and a warm welcome to the press box.
Good evening, Andrew.
You realize I'm panting, I'm sweating, I'm really uncomfortable. I don't think I've been this starstruck in a very long while, my friend. Tell me, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. I can just tell you to relax. You don't need to panic a lot.
I don't need to panic.
Yeah.
I will definitely relax. Let me start off with the latest. You're fresh off a 4th position finish in the half marathon in Poland. Disappointed you didn't win this one?
No, it's not a big disappointment. My target was to break the world records in the track this year after the pandemic happened. I shifted my plans to try to be innovative enough and not sit back at home and do nothing, but I had to sit with a team of coaches, a team of management, a team of friends, and then I was like, what should happen? And then no Olympics, no World Half Marathon Championship, so the target was, the plan C was to attack the historic world records. And these are exceptional things that set you apart from the rest of the athletes.
Trust me, my friend, you're way apart. You're way apart at the moment. Later on, we shall be crossing over to Mark Sally, and of course, Darren Alan Chaine is also joining us from our studio B this very evening for all the analysis. I think let's start here. And I really hate to start negative when I'm talking to legends like you. Last week, we had an interview, which of course you granted us from Spain. And there's one simple line that has gotten all Ugandans talking, Joshua. At the moment, we were talking about the 2017, I think, World Cross Country Championships in Kololo. Yes, people were mocking you, and of course you weren't happy with it, but you still worked hard to get to the top. But at the end of that interview, you said, Ugandans have been mocking me, you do not deserve me. Did we misunderstand what you said, you think?
I think, Mr. Andrew, there was it depends on how someone picks the information. But there are still also the many Ugandans who have been supporting me, who have been wishing me well. So it depends on who picked
what.
Yes. So in this perspective, if it was somebody who might have spoken a word or uttered a word, then it means you are the most unvulnerable.
Yeah.
I mean the vulnerable, of course. But of course, you know, in life, there has to be a moment and a time where you have to speak the truth. And in life also, sometimes to get off something from your heart, you need to speak, you need to totally say what is in your heart, and eventually you'll receive this inner peace and healing.
Yeah. I want to start off with you, Mwangusha. I think you should throw in the questions now, because I want to start from way back and retell his story. He is such a champion that you still get a feeling that some of the young Ugandans who have just watched him recently maybe don't know how much he's battled, but maybe, go on.
You see, the thing is, we are starting from him finishing 4th, but there's much greater stuff, of course, we all know that's happened. I remember covering you at the 2013 Uganda University Games, where you were just smashing 5,000, 10,000, and at the end I was interviewing you, and you were just bored. You said you had no competition, and you are looking forward to the East African Games, University Games, for you to have the competition. Was it that bad, or you were just too good at the time?
I think, and I believe, there is time that you feel that this is the level that I fit in life. We will not always be the same. And at that time, at that level, it was enough that I was the best at the university. And then I realized that I still need to take it to another level.
Okay, interesting. Of course, you've done great stuff, and Cheptegei, having everyone talk. Of course, we'll get into the later bit of goats and all. But you've had such an incredible year. in such a unique year, and you've showed your mettle by saying the Olympics were taken away, the Worlds was taken away, and you had to go for the world records, and you broke those. Then you get at the weekend into a race for the first time. At this point, you had made us get used to you now breaking records. So we thought this one you're just going to, stamp it over. But of course, after Darren analyzed it for us and the technicalities, yeah, personally I thought, any finish should be good, but I thought podium was going to be good for you. So I thought you'd either win it or hit the podium. Now, we watched this race in Poland, and you started quite well. The commentator kept saying you were comfortable, 10 kilometers, you were really good. And then at 15 kilometers, when Kiplimo, there would have been pace setter, now was starting to get worried because they were peeling away and you were, not catching up.
Attack the world records to break the world records on the track. And typically, I can say the timing for the World Half Marathon Championship was not favorable, because ask me why, if it had taken place in March, we would be having a different result, like Cheptegei winning the gold. But then, the focus was on the 10,000 meters and the 5,000 meters, which I made it perfectly, even with so many people saying, no, it's not going to make it. So, to me, running the half marathon 10 days after the world record was something special to me, and I would have cancelled the World Half Marathon Championship, but I went in there because of the team spirit, because of trying to be on the national colors and represent the Ugandans,
Yeah, let me go back to 2017, Joshua, and I'll bring in Darren very shortly to probably add to what we're saying. I like talking about 2017 because for me, it is what inspires so many young athletes out there, so many guys who are trying to be at Cheptegei, are always going to find hurdles. We saw pictures of you struggling down in Kololo, and so many people, like you said, wrote you off. But I asked you this when you were in Spain and you didn't give me an answer. What is it you told yourself when you went back home? Because I think it's what everyone needs to listen to. When you went back home that night, looked at the pictures, saw everyone mocking you, saw every newspaper, every tweet. What did you tell yourself? Were you crying in that house?
In the beginning, I was asking myself and asking God, why is it that it's me who has, undergone under all this kind of situation, suffering, and, like the point where I feel like I should have been the one to win on the home soil. But rather, again, the reverse was true. I was at the point, at the crossroad, and I discovered there is still something that I need to do, and to come out of that trauma and eventually write my name in the books of history. I can still say that incident, I took it positively. I learned a lot of things from that incident, the aggressiveness that I have. But then I think I didn't have a good mental approach. I think that's me. And then the other aspect was, of course, the heat played a lot of things. In Kololo, it was humid, previous 2 nights it was raining a lot and what have you. So it is at this point that we are in life and we feel that we are hitting the wall.
Yeah.
And then this is the point that you need to know that there is something that you could come out of, you could package also, yourself from that, that wall, and then you could rise up and encourage yourself and build the confidence and say, one time I want to be a star. So
Joshua,
this was the time.
Teach me something here. Teach me something about long distance running. Some of the analysts that day said you got your tactics absolutely wrong. They say you went too fast, too early. Was that the case? And because of the reason I'm asking that is you have gone on to win so many races since that. Is that something you've had to correct? Was it something tactical as well?
I think it's something that may not be explained very well, because when I was actually taken to Nakasero Hospital, the head of state organized the personal doctor and took me to Nakasero Hospital, and they did a lot of scans and examinations, and so they didn't find anything. And you could see I woke up I rose up and went to the medal ceremony for the group medal, and I was fine.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's not really so easy to really understand what happened, what transpired, but we can learn that there are so many things that can contribute to such things. One is the element of the heat, of course, the climate. The other aspect would be hydration. The other aspect would be prior to the race or leading to the race. What could have happened a week before? So those are the important things that we can learn. And,
Okay.
you know.
Okay, we're going to come back and talk about those big records, my friend. Hey, I was watching you just the other day. On Twitter now, I'm telling everyone I know that I'm Ugandan. And that Joshua Cheptegei and I are very, very close. Wow. Very good friends. But let me quickly cross over to Darren Cheyune, who is standing by in our Studio B as well. Darren, you're very close to this man, and you've closely followed where he's come from and where he is at the moment. What really describes Cheptegei for you?
Hi, Andrew. I think I must say he's a resilient guy. He's a resilient character. To come from the adversity of 2017 in Kololo to where he is today, I've seen a guy who is responded meticulously to what happened in Kololo, and as you've seen, there were lots of positives to pick, and well, not many people sided with him after that, but just 4 months later, he was able to get that 10,000-meter world silver behind Mo Farah in London. So 3 years on, I think he's only left to get the Olympic title, perhaps defend everything he's got over the next years after the Olympic Games, and then we'll perhaps be talking the greatest athlete of all time.
I know you speak to him quite a lot because you've followed his journey, but you must have a question you've always wanted to ask him. Shoot, my friend.
Well, we just joked about it a while ago, so I'll ask about it on air.
Yeah.
One, Joshua, what is it that that motivates you to do everything you do today? Perhaps the lighter one to begin with.
The motivation, I derive my motivation from the aspect of trying to become better and better every opportunity I still have in this kind of life, in this, this moment.
Okay. He just tries to be better. Before I cross over to Mwangusha, and we are still trying to get Max Ali online as well. We are also taking in your questions. Quickly head down to Twitter or Facebook and keep your fingers very busy this evening by using the hashtag NTV Press Box. Send us your side of the story. Samuel Tukamushaba says, great to have you champion in the studio. We absolutely celebrate you. I'm one of those few that saw a future champion in you back in 2017 and didn't ever mock you. But I always wondered, what happened then? Did the body fail? What exactly happened? I think you've pretty much answered everything around that. Someone else online is asking, who were your biggest idols as you were growing up? Because now you're breaking the records, Joshua. There must have been those guys you looked at and said, a few years later, I'll beat you, or I'll be like you.
There is this guy, not one, but many. One of them is Kenenisa Bekele of Ethiopia. And then the other is Haile Gabriel Selassie of Ethiopia. He broke like 27 couple of world records on the track and the road. And then there is Eliud Kipchoge and of course Stephen Kiprotich. But the most, of course, is Kenenisa. He really inspired me, and that time when I was in primary school, and I used to really, whenever I watch, he was just making it, and I said one time, I want to be like him.
Just on that, Joshua. Yes, you broke Bekele's records. And the last time you were interviewed, of course, you said you hadn't spoken to him. Has there been any communication between you and him? Have you contacted him? Has he contacted you? These are your idols whose records you've smashed, and you're the guy now. Have you had any contact between the two of you? Or even Gabriel Selassie?
From what I know, we have never had any conversation and a talk with the Kenenisa Bekele. From Haile, I just saw a couple of 1 week ago or 2 weeks ago, he was making a prediction about the NN Valencia World Record Day, and he was like, Joshua Cheptegei is going to make the world record.
Yeah, I watched that. I watched that. That was quite brilliant. But now when you see such superstars speak about you, how I don't know, because Joshua, let me tell you something. If I was in your shoes, if I was the guy who had broken 2 world records, I wouldn't even be coming to press box.
Sure, sure.
You'd interview me from my home. Well, what keeps you grounded? Because I mean, I'm looking at the world records you're winning. Is this something to do with your humble beginnings, which we shall talk about very shortly? What keeps you on the ground?
The most important thing in life is your humility. You know, the more you become humble, the more you get more exalted. Biblically, it's the same thing, but also in real life. You need to be so humble because, you know, if you die tomorrow, you're not gonna put yourself on the grave.
Yeah.
It is people who, it is people who help you. And for example, like if you are going to become the president, it is still the people who make you. So you cannot be a champion without people. You cannot be a head of state without people.
Yeah.
So you need each other in this world.
Just to add on Andrew's, Joshua.
Yes, please.
Do you have an idea what you have achieved? Do you even have an idea of how much you have achieved in this country?
I don't think he has an idea.
For now, I can say it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Brilliant.
That's scary. That's scary.
It's just a beginning.
That's scary. Before I get to Andrew, you've won everything there is to win in your fields, in this country and internationally. But when you look at, of course, your idol, Kiprotich, he got the gold Olympics medal, gold. And then, of course, we have our father in the gold game of Olympics, John Akibua, Gabriel Selassie, Bekele, Cheptegei. All of them have, you know, Olympic medals. And that's the one medal so far that COVID has got in a way for you.
Absolutely.
You've managed to, you know, to grab the world records from COVID, which is brilliant, but COVID has still kept away Olympics. Now, we are lucky they've not been put off. They'll be on next year, July, August. Is it just, do you also feel it, that is the one element that is stopping you from the GOAT, greatest of all time, the greatness that Cheptegei is now, just waiting for affirmation and confirmation next year? Do you feel the same?
I feel that kind of pressure because really, like, I'm a kind of person who doesn't want to dream of small things. I'm a kind of person who, I speak to myself and I say, Joshua, you are made for greatness. You are not made. You are not made to be a loser. I mean, you are made to become the best of the best.
Yeah.
So I think 1 year added to the Olympic Games, it is just an opportunity to prepare myself better and better, and win it without any kind of setback. And yeah.
Yeah. I'll cross over Darren. I want us to talk about the president. I want us to talk about Iten. I want us to talk about the preparations you actually go through and government support. But let me start here. Let's talk about your beginnings. And I'm asking this so that I know how your life has changed recently, because I saw you getting off the track and everyone is scrambling for a picture. Everyone is scrambling for an autograph in there. Joshua, where did this start? At what age did you feel, you know what, I'm actually going to run?
It started when I was still a young boy in my family. I'm the second born in my family, and
how many are you?
We are 9.
Okay.
5 boys and 4 girls.
Okay.
So I'm kind of this person where I love to graze animals, and we used to graze animals in a grass field, and we used to get pecks and put around the field, and we could compete with my other siblings, my friends, and I could emerge the best.
Okay.
Later, did I know that this was the calling that it was directing me to the path.
Yeah.
But then in primary, I also ran in a private school. I just had passion, and then in high school, I was not given the opportunity because that time, most of the schools in Kapchara, they were hiring people from Kenya to run. And then, of course, that time I was in maybe Form 1, and Kiprotich was already a star, and the likes of Isa Kiprop, and I was just joining secondary, and I had I think my talent was going to be like a loss.
Yeah.
But then, here is a point that changed everything, the look of all things. When I go to Puguera High School, there was this kind of mentor that mentored me.
Okay.
And that was the head teacher called Mr. Liada Apollo. He's now, I think, he's in Rock College. I mean, not Rock College Tororo, I think. And then of course he was transferred to Wairaka, College Wairaka in 2012. Of course, it was special that he was, he gave me the opportunity to exercise and say you are one of the greats, like you are Kiprops, you are Kiprotich. So he told me there's no way you are going to tell me that you are not going to participate for the school. So this was the calling that it changed my outlook of things, and I was made to go back to the crossroads and discover what I was supposed to do in life.
And when you step off that truck and everyone is rushing and struggling for an autograph, everyone wants a selfie, how does it make you feel? Do you finally feel like, man, I have been trying this for a while, here I am now?
I think finally you become a little bit satisfied.
Yeah.
But there is still that kind of, that level that you want to discover. Like, like I want to be this kind of a legend where I can inspire the millions of people in the world.
Yeah.
Not only in sports, but people from all aspects of life, people who are depressed in life, people who think that they finally lost everything in life. So that's it.
Okay, Mark Sally is on the line now, but before I cross over to Mark Sally, let me first cross back to Darren Cheine, who is in our Studio B, just like I said. Darren, you've had an opportunity of talking to people in his village. You've had an opportunity of talking to Ugandans and locals near where he trains from. Tell me, what has his impact been? Has there been transformation because of people like Cheptegei in the area? Is there a social change because of giants like him?
Well, before I got on to set, I was with Joshua, and one of the things that we were talking about was to do with him being the greatest athlete of all time, not only in Uganda, but perhaps the globe, because if Bekele did 27 world records, and Joshua has done 4 world records in 10 months, well, that means he's on course for whatever he's gearing for. But to speak in that perspective, today there is no athlete who is inspiring as many people as Eliud Kipchoge. After the Ineos Challenge in Vienna, Austria last year, where he became the first man to do a perfect sub-2-hour marathon, despite the fact that there was a lot of aid and it's not considered a world record over the marathon, he inspires so many people in Eldoret, Kenya. And with the victories that Cheptegei is having, the submission is just had where Kenyans used to run for Kapchora schools. I think that narrative is changing. There should be very many more Cheptegeis that do either follow him as he does the morning runs, or there should be even more that have not been talked about or have not had the opportunity to come and don the Ugandan bib, like the guys like Jacob Kiplimo and all these other guys that have come through. If you're discussing Cheptegei today, we're not discussing him alone. I don't know how many team medals Uganda is picking. Quite huge history that Uganda is amounting across different championships, not only the World Half Marathon, but also the World Cross Country last year, where Joshua went on to become the first Ugandan to win the gold. Every victory is turning out to be historical. It's turning out to be phenomenal for the country. And with Joshua, I believe, well, if he was doing morning runs with just about 20 people when he started years ago, as we speak now, Joshua probably now does morning runs with over 30, 40 individuals, obviously with the COVID protocols that are taking place.
Okay, fantastic. There you go. Thank you very much, Darren. Let me quickly cross over to our resident analyst now, Mark Sally, who has been having technological problems again. But now he's joining us online. There he is. Good evening, Mark. And of course, as always, a warm welcome to the press box. This is the closest via this phone call, Mark, that you can be near a world record breaker. So please appreciate this moment. And if you have something to tell him, ask him now.
Andrew, how are you?
Fantastic.
Joshua, I salute you. Now, first of all, I didn't have any technical problems. I don't know why you are not coming to me, but I've been here all night. Anyway.
You didn't just sell out our production team.
Yeah, I've been here all night. Yeah. Joshua, first of all, congratulations. And I'd like to salute the greatest of all time. I don't want any arguments from you or anybody else in the studio about this. I am speaking from out of conviction. Now, there's a few things that I'd like to ask Joshua. First of all, the first one is as a comment. I am quite pleasantly, well, indulged in how eloquent, how witty and humorous, and how intelligent Joshua is. Well, I haven't been in a studio situation with him. I've just had clips here and there, a few interviews after races. Last week he was on the show via video recording and things. But seeing him right there, right now, talking the way he does, it's something that has struck me, and it's one of the things that I'd like for him to say a little more about, because for me, the kind of background I come from, the sporting background I come from, and watching our country grow in sporting terms as well as in others. It's not every day that we've come across athletes, the guys who are supposed to be our role models, guys who are supposed to inspire a nation, and having them then sit there and actually inspire you from just them talking, apart from what they do on the track or on the pitch or in a pool or on a court or something like that. So this is something I'd like Joshua to tell us about, where this comes from, the wit and humor, the intelligence, if you like, the eloquence, because I think it's very important, because there's a reason why sport in Uganda is also linked with our education, and so it's an important thing. I think it's an important thing for him to be able, because there are kids out there who a few parents have allowed to stay past their bedtime, so they're waiting to hear that. That's one. The second bit is something that I always ask the athletes that come onto our show, and it's I mean, we're privileged to have hosted some of the best that Uganda has had in recent times, and it's one of the reasons that even if I am part of the press box, that I love it. If I was just a viewer, that I'd love the press box, is because we're actually hailing our legends where they live, and it's a great thing to have them in the studio. Now, Joshua, I want you to talk about money, to be open about money, as you've been about your career, about your shortcomings, about your growth, about your stardom. It's important because this show, again, is watched by policymakers. We've got cabinet ministers and MPs and people like that watching. We've got people from National Council of Sports, Uganda Athletics Federation, and everywhere who I'm sure are watching this show. Then, of course, we've got people from outside of that realm, people in the tourism industry, people at Uganda Investment Authority, and the people in charge of that kind of thing. And then also, we've got Ugandan businessmen, we've got investors, we've got young athletes, aspiring athletes. We've got communities that are watching. And I'd like for you to talk money here. How, for example, you're doing your saving, how you're doing your investing, what inspires an athlete like you to be able to manage finances, how much of what you win is coming back into the Ugandan economy and where it is going, and what it means if we had 10 other, 100 other, 1,000 other champions like you to the Ugandan economy. If that is possible, I'd like for you, Joshua, to paint a picture.
Okay.
It is important for people who are watching us to understand this, because I'm always drumming on about this for a reason, and we will discuss it even in your absence. But if you can, please, those two.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes, Joshua.
Well, thank you, Mark. I would like to thank you so much for your always analytical commentary, and you're always superb, like. I want to state this very clearly, that first and foremost, there is a lot of motivation, not just driven by monetary factor. The first thing that you need to do is be inspired and have the dream and the zeal of becoming the best. Of course, automatically, when you're the best, you know that of course, it will come with money. Of course, that's the most important thing. You don't just train and say maybe I want to go and win the money. Of course, your motivation should be I want to go and be the best, because there is still more to to winning than even just the monetary factor. Well, then I want to ask. I want to state to you that in as much as we are winning, it may not be the most money at like another sport, but still we do the most out of it. We do like investment. Like I would like to invite you to come to Kapchora. I think a few people have come. I'm building there the training center, and then also I have also a primary school where I offer scholarships to the best athletes in a primary level.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. We really appreciate that. Mark, we shall come back to you very, very shortly. He's talked about you getting invited to Kapchorwa. You've told us about the road that Unrise is doing in Kapchorwa. We shall ask him about that road and how good it is. But Joshua, allow me to read for you some reactions that are coming through online. Chebet Milton says, what are other countries doing that Uganda should do to promote our athletics?
Yes, Milton. Thank you so much. I know we are not really a very rich country endowed with a lot of things. We are endowed with resources, but we are still not yet there like the developed countries. But still, we also would like to appreciate government for what they have done. But still, there is a lot of things to be desired. And one of it is the well-being of the athletes. The country has tried. Like, of course, the head of state giving vehicles to the excelling athletes to ease up the trainings and the movements. I also got mine, and Stephen got his. Kipsira got his, and and then the monetary factor, but still there should be something which is sustainable. Like I would say, the head of state, His Excellency, promised to, monthly stipends for excelling athletes.
Yes.
But still, there are some gaps where we don't know whether it is.
Sometimes
people. Sometimes they tell you it's not an entitlement. So we really,
okay. It looks like an allowance sometimes. Sometimes
yes,
it never comes.
yes.
Okay.
You are looking at, you want a structure that is, permanent, whereby every month I'm getting this, and it comes without you following it up.
That's what the president said. The president said it should be monthly.
Yes, I would like to say that for now, I know National Council and, of course, Mr. Kunta Langa, who is also the presidential advisor on sports, and then the Minister of Education, Amson Abua, and then Mama Janet Museveni. I believe there could be something that is going to happen, like a sustainable way of trying to develop the athletes, like a motivational factor, whereby if you are the Olympic champion, they give you support that will make you to win the next Olympics. There should be that kind of. I think they are almost coming up with that. I think it's almost on the way.
Also, they have sat down with you and shared some views with you on how we can improve this year. Because you're the best person to talk to.
Yes, like I told you, we shared with the National Council and I think the First Lady and who is the Minister.
Okay.
I think they are brought to her attention. And,
just to stick to that point of money and development, you've started your training center. You've built your training center, but we have the high altitude that was promised first. I think Kipsiro, then Kiprotich. To date, it's still incomplete. Max Ali always tells us about the roads there, that they're the ones that are complete. But of course, I know there are structures there that have happened, but as athletes, how frustrated are you at the pace it is being done? Did the delay inspire you to actually build your own?
Well, I know that it's something that is technical. Technicalities, you talk about the weather. Like now, for sure, this year has been really the year that the contractor was on the site for the road. But, our soils in Kapchora, they are loam soils and they cannot really work like on big trucks and what have you. So it is really a big hindrance.
Okay.
But then, of course, way back several years, there have been also like a lot of missing gaps where there has been a lot of delays. But let me tell you the fact. When we finish, when the government gets, when the facility is being run and completed, I think there shall be more people who really want to come to the country and train with us. And then also, we can use that moment to nurture talent across the whole country. Like, of course, for me, I have the vision that I really want to create my legacy. That's why I came up with the training center. I want to have a facility that can even house like 500 young kids when they come for holidays. We train them so that they can be inspired. We keep them with the momentum and the inspiration so that by the time they make maybe senior 4, senior 6, the best who are good in the sport, we can also support them on that line. And then the rest we can support on what they want to do in life. You know,
okay.
Generally.
I have a message here from Matiko Esa who says Mbarara is live. People in Mbarara, thank you very much for watching. Konka abanyambara tinkumanya. Ntuija kubona yetu inomujuni ninga tuina masiko orukuija ku breaking a world record nka Cheptegei yogo. Tinkwami, but let's wait and see. I have a message from Godwin who says Joshua Cheptegei is very humble. He has sacrificed a lot to be where he is. A lot has been foregone to be where he is. The question though, do you think your management will organize a half marathon soon to attempt the world record because it seems achievable?
Thank you. That was Godwin. I believe, with me, I believe in positivity. I'm a person with a positive mindset, and I believe it is in the reach of global sports communication to organize an event where I can break the world record. It's just a matter of time. You know, it's also about not hurrying so much to, you know, like I'm talking about the 10 years that I want to keep on making history and history. We have to sustain, because you never know, you can burn out and, you know, like cut it off within 5 years, and you will not be the one that used to be the best.
Here's an interesting one, Joshua, and I say this because I'm sure you have enough experience. We don't have so many Ugandan athletes or sportsmen that have management companies. Which is why some guys struggle for finances, which is why guys don't know what they should eat. They don't have someone to probably give them the advice. And this comes off a message from Abdul Sesolo, who says, what is the team management contribution to your success? And how can other athletes in Uganda do to access the same type of management? How easy was it to get NN running? And by the way, how important have they been to your development?
I would like to say that having a management agency that really advocates for you and supports you is really very important. I got this in 2014 when I ran in Kololo, the Africa Cross Country Championship, where I became the first Ugandan. I was number 7, of course, and I signed a contract, and because they got interested in me, and that was the time that I got introduced to the world of real sports. So having a management comes with a lot of things. You need a coach. Of course, I have my Dutch coach. Is the one who has been behind all this success. Recently, I was there ever since the lockdown began, and he was still there until we traveled together to make, in order that they can gain in the future.
Yes, yes. So management team, very, very important. There you go. Darren, I'm crossing over to you very shortly because I've gotten a message here from Menya Abdul Majid, who says, I saw Joshua Cheptegei running the district finals while in Bugwere High School. And he says, guy overlapped everyone 2 or 3 times. And I knew he was a world champion already. Darren, who are those Ugandans that are knocking on Joshua Cheptegei's door at the moment? How much talent do we have? How is Uganda's conveyor belt performing at the moment?
Well, quite plenty, I must say. And I think the structures of school sports continue to raise so many athletes from humble backgrounds like Joshua. The comedy reading is about secondary school championships. The best time, some of the best stories that have been told of athletes like Ronald Musagala, Winnie Nanyondo, before she broke through to go for the World Junior Championships in Barcelona in Spain in 2012. Talk about Halima Nakai when she won the 400-meter Commonwealth gold in Isle of Man in 2011. All of them have come through secondary school sport. But behind Cheptegei, well, there is already a man who is just won the title on Saturday. To begin with, Jacob Kiplimo, and quite a number of other guys like Stephen Kisa, who is a compatriot for Joshua, for everything Joshua has done, especially this year. Stephen Kisa has been a big part to mention. I don't know if Joshua has got a comment about Stephen Kisa later on in the show. Okay. But also other guys like Victor Kiplangat. When you move to the other distances that you could talk about, like the steeplechase, guys like Abel Sikowo, who've been quite impressive over the past years. And these are guys who already have tickets to the Olympic Games. We have the marathoners who've come through. They are not on track like Joshua, but they're on the road. And quite a number have qualified since over the last 1.5 years. Obviously, with Stephen Kiprotich in the fray too. 7 marathoners are already through to the Olympic Games. But guess what? There's just a quarter placing of just 3 who can go to the Olympics next year. So they've still got to sieve out the best times over the next, I must say, 9 months. So be sure you'll be seeing many marathoners, especially February, are taking center stage. Guys like Robert Chemonges, Felix Chemonges and company.
Okay, we shall be running through that list and also crossing over to Mark Sally again. And maybe, should we open up our phone lines tonight? We could open up our phone lines.
You know, it's something that is amazing. You know, maybe she's emotional and maybe she's like, she panics a lot and she's like, oh, how is he going to make it? And, you know, I can't explain it.
So she asks how you performed later. Has she ever watched you live? Are you aware?
She doesn't really watch live, but
yeah, but
she comes to watch it later.
Yeah, but yes. Cheptegei, on the other side, as a family man, it must be very hard to have time for family and the races. You're never home. You're always on the road. You're always out training or you're traveling across the world. How do you even balance that?
I believe in this world, you know what you want in life, and of course, family. Of course, you'll be with the family. They will always be with you. But in life, you have to create the time for all things. You know, like sometimes I hear people say, "I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this." But you can create time. Of course, time will be there. It's just a matter of creating time and utilizing that special time with.
I think at that point, Chep, we need to educate my friend Andrew here. There's something that you and I share that I've noticed. It's a Japanese concept called the Kaizen. The Kaizen, that's where someone commits to continuous development every other day. And that's something we share. I think Andrew needs to take a look.
Well, Cheptegei, I tell you what, I don't have time for Mwangusha now, but I have time for Mark Sally. Mark Sally, there's an interesting tweet, and I would really want you to add on to this as we come back to Cheptegei, and then we shall be organizing our phone calls. Someone called Enoch Wabui on Twitter says, the government need to place big billboards across the country of Joshua Cheptegei, more so from the airport to all the cities in the country as a sign of honor. Are we respecting Cheptegei enough in this country? I was in Egypt. I've said this on the show before. The moment I landed in Egypt like this, everywhere is Mohamed Salah. You know you're in Mohamed Salah country. Shouldn't Cheptegei be on the banknotes?
Yeah, Andrew, it's important for us to hail our heroes.
Yeah.
And it's important because it's important for the for the collective psyche of the country. It is important for the collective esteem of our country, but it's also important for our economy. Now, I've said this before, and Joshua would like to hear this, is that in my entire life of watching Ugandan sport, and of even being involved at certain smaller levels, is I've not found Uganda to be comfortable as favorites. We like to be the underdog. It's a position that suits us. It's a position from which we excel. When we are tagged as favorites, overwhelming favorites, most times, more than most times, we've actually fallen flat on our faces. And that is because of the collective psyche of our society. There are things in our history, in our past, that have knocked down our esteem, that have knocked down our self-belief, that have actually made us think that we're second-class citizens where the universe is concerned. And so many people will not admit that, but I will, especially because I'm one of those who is an advocate for us fighting this kind of thing. And it starts with our long history and colonial times and everything, up to what's happened to us today. Now, when you get a guy like Joshua who steps onto the track when the world is saying he's not only just going to win, but also break a world record, and then he goes ahead to do that, this is somebody who's changing, who's helping change the collective psyche. And we've got to hail these kinds of people. People Ugandans are creating drives where they're saying now, we need to think inward. We need to praise ourselves a lot more than we praise those that come from across our borders as the best. There's a government initiative for us to build Uganda and buy Uganda. There are individuals like Apollo Makubuya who are saying we rename our streets and our roads and take the colonial names away and give them to people like Joshua Cheptegei. There are also so many Ugandans are saying these things where we need to hail ourselves. And when Andrew, you asked me a question about the billboards, it is one way of us going ahead and doing that. I've complained about this on WhatsApp forums with friends of mine and those in the media, and they know, because I've been part of the media for a very long time, that there are things which make the front pages. There are issues and events and people that make the front pages in our country that shouldn't. When people like Joshua Cheptegei are still occupying the back pages.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't belong to the back page. He doesn't belong to the back pages anymore. He is our national hero. And there are some trivial things that make their way there because perhaps they're going to sell copies.
Yeah.
We in the media and the people are supposed to be changing the country towards thinking that those things don't matter, but Joshua does.
Okay, Mark.
Now, and it's not only government, because government is doing something, but they need to do more. But how about the private sector, Andrew?
Mark, I want us to go for a break. When we come back, we ask for your final contribution.
Belong to government. Yeah.
I wanted to go for a break. Then when I come back, I'll ask for your final contribution, and we can try to wrap it up. But just before we do that, Joshua, let me ask you this one before we go for a break. I don't even know what you call appreciation, and I'm not saying you're calling for it. But do you feel appreciated by Ugandans, by how the country has treated you after everything you've won? Do you feel you're held in high regard here?
Mr. Andrew, you know, in as much as we are having this, but there is still something that needs to be addressed. The moment we come up with a conversation about this is something that is broad. There are things that are beyond us sometimes that are beyond us to speak, because you just have to accept life the way it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes there are situations where you know that in this thing you are alone in this, but
Yeah.
in this you are with somebody. So that's just life, you know.
Yeah.
You have to.
But you know what's funny, Joshua, is that in
No.
this thing you feel you are alone when you're training. When you win, the entire country is with you.
I mean, that's the fact.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, like when it comes to cooking food, one person cooks the food. But how many people will come and eat the food?
Let's go for a quick commercial break, folks. When we come back, we are picking 5 phone calls. We're asking you to call us on the now powered by DSTV. On DSTV now, of course, the NBA is done and dusted, but there's so much American basketball that you certainly can enjoy at the moment. Plus, you can watch cricket, you can watch boxing. There's a lot of football. And, of course, folks like Joshua Cheptegei are always on your screen, not only winning races and raising Uganda's flag as high as he has, but also breaking world records. I'm telling you. Now, we are into the final part of the show. We are only going to allow a few phone calls to come through if you want to say hi to him or if you want to ask him a very specific question. But I think I should start off by asking him, this is the end of your season. Your season is now done, Joshua. I would want to understand until the end of the year. What does a superstar like you do on vacation? I mean, what do you do to relax?
Well, I'm just going to spend time with my family and try to discover and see new things. I could maybe travel to Tanzania. I could maybe travel to Kidebo or Maxon Falls.
Yes. What is your best destination apart from Uganda? I know Uganda is the pearl of Africa. What is your best destination in the world? Where have you gone and said, maybe I should stay here for a day after the race?
South Africa.
Oh, really? You love South Africa? Yeah. Okay, there you go. Let's take some phone calls now. Folks, do give us a call. The number is right on the screen. The world record holder in 2 different races is here with us. He's been breaking everything everyone talks about. And he's certainly the most talked about name in world athletics at the moment. We have some calls on the line. Good evening and welcome to the press box.
Yes, good evening, Andrew.
I'm fantastic. Please talk to Joshua.
Yeah, this is Enoch from there. I want to ask Joshua, aside from athletics, what is other best sport?
Did you hear that?
Yes, I got his point. The sport that I love besides athletics is football.
Oh, okay. Football. Okay. Should I ask you which local team you support?
Of course, police.
Chris, my friend.
And which international team you support?
Of course, United.
Joshua.
Deal.
I've always felt you're a brilliant man. I've always felt Joshua is a brilliant man. Let's take one more call. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Fantastic. What's your name, my brother?
My name is Michael.
Michael, tell me. Talk to Joshua.
Yeah, I would like to find out from Joshua. What are his plans for the Olympics? Is he going to double up? Is he going to go for both the 5K and the 10K?
Okay.
And because for the 10K, I'm almost 100% certain because he has the gas. Last year, Cheptegei tried to stick to him, but eventually won. But for the 5K, Barega, Gabriel, Cheptegei, Bekele, even Kiplimo. So I would like to know what are his plans.
Okay, thank you very much. Joshua, the Olympics?
Thank you, Michael. Nice to have you. Like you said, 10K is almost assured, but I can tell you, the way I did the Diamond Leagues, I surprised everybody and I did it in a special way. So I'm a man with the intellect and a lot of instincts, and I know what's good for me.
Okay.
I
So
work things.
you're attacking both.
I will do a double, but then of course I play things in my favor. What makes me to be the best, not in what I do.
Oh, okay. So it's his personal tactics.
It's about my personal tactics. So if you play in my personal tactics, you are gone.
You're out of it. Let's try to take 2 more phone calls. My producer said our phones are buzzing. Good evening.
Good evening.
Fantastic. What's your name?
My name is Cheroto.
Tell me. Talk to Joshua.
I am going to talk in Kupsabin Manga to film with our Joshua Takwena.
Here you go. Just happy and
Yeah, okay. She's saying she's happy and happy to see you.
Yeah, we get you.
But
we
just
get
also,
you.
please, in your local language, say hi to folks who are watching us from home.
yes, Baba, just ako mbayo, mbamtapia mbechevia, kangmokle chika stesu, sabay baba ta kwanya mama. Fight one class on my cake, which baptonin gavsa, kita jem da jenam jeni, kanyetap saving tarat, ako kanyetap kalenjin, ako kanyetap Uganda. Ang mokle chengaraktosi, am samaton pog, achamoka ramen bika kapchorwa, bika kwen, bika bukwa, apa es karamen, angatu kula kwangnya bo, saving kaitawan.
Hata abanyambarao Joshua Cheptegei anagira ngu yaramsiabo wabo bona kandi yabashemerwa kureba press box. You can give us the Uganda version, my friend.
Joshua anagamba ngu abatoro nibaija nibakwija next kwiruka after leo Rwabogo the late the legend, so ntujja kuleta abantu bengi mu kwiruka muno kandi wakuja kuongeraho in the next 10 years na Rugatoro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take one more phone call, folks, then we can have a final comment from all our panelists tonight. Good evening and a warm welcome to the press box.
Hello.
Yes, good evening, my brother. What's your name?
My name is Patrick.
Patrick, tell me, talk to Joshua.
Yes.
Yes, Patrick.
Yes, I'm calling from Lira.
Yes, nice to have you.
My name is Patrick Obong.
I can hear you very loud and clear.
Yes, I'm calling from Lira.
Yes, brother.
Yes, I'm always very, very happy and very fantastic hearing you and getting you clear.
Thank you.
I like athletics very much when I was in primary, in secondary, when I was also
as a teacher. Now, my advice is like this, huh?
Yes, yes.
If the government can allow you also to move around Uganda like we in the northern, you come just when you come this way, you meet those one who are talented and those one who are interested. You at least you give them some clues so that they also catch up and follow you. Because when you are not there, people should also be following. So that is what I was also thinking. And most so far, what I heard about you, maybe something which is a beautiful, people can remember you in every these cities in Uganda. Because when you look at Akibwa, the history is dying and people are not even remembering, because there's no something which people can remember too much this year in Uganda.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. They are calling you everywhere, Joshua. I'm telling you, you must go over to the north and meet the fans. And I'm hoping you're planning a countrywide tour. I'll be the manager, no problem.
Of course, if you...
if you can fund it.
No, it's not about funding, but you know, you also have like time and
yes.
yeah, we can do it after the Olympic Games, and you can go to the west.
Yes.
Go to the north.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's done. We have to go. Here is an interesting question, and I wanted to ask you this, but this is my final question from Twitter. It's from Patricia Ahumuza. Says, NTV Press Box, thank you very much for the good show. Andrew, please ask Joshua if there is any local sponsors for athletics. This is quite interesting, Joshua, because we've been talking about your management team. We've been talking about a big number of athletes here in the country. Are there sponsors? Do you guys feel the corporate world is supporting you?
Mr. Andrew, this is a very unrealistic thing that is happening in the country. Mm. Right, if there's somebody who loves Uganda, I can say more Ugandan than others, it's me.
Yes.
I got this offer in the Arab world in 2017. And of course, that really required me to denounce my citizenship and the names. I get the Muslim names and what have you. Oh. But I did it. I wanted to stay at my country and of course do things at home and make people to believe that there is more to life than these kind of things. But this patriotism, I mean, like, we are not really appreciated a lot. The corporate world, they're not doing what it should be done. Mm. If I was in a country like the Western world, like in America, in Europe, I'd be having like millions of dollars, like, you know, like deals, you know, like. Yes. But still here, you find people, they come to you and they say, Josh, can we have you feature in our campaign? Mm. You are Ugandan, you need to be patriotic, can you do it? But I mean, you're killing someone's talent. You don't know how much time and the resource and the monies I have put. It's so many years, like absolutely 7 years, 8 years down the road. And then you come to me and you're like, Josh, can you do this, like, for this and this? I mean, like, this is discouraging the sport in the country. So I call upon several corporate societies to, you know, wake up and embrace us, and even Ugandans, even government. You know, there's a difference when you tell me, Joshua, you know what? Thank you so much. Then, when you tell me, Josh, man, I know you really train a lot. Can we have a couple of coffee and juice at Serena here? Yes. That would be, there's a big difference. Yeah. There's a big difference between a dry thank you and of course
and a wet thank you.
I mean, that's it.
Yes. No, but I like your point. And you know what? I want to ask Mwangusha about that same point. And I want one more comment from you, Mwangusha. I don't understand. I really don't understand. The other day, I'm not a policy maker in this country, but the other day I was saying, what if the government said every foreign investor in the country has a percentage they donate to sport? You wanted to add something?
Yeah, but still, I want to really thank, of course, MTN. They led by example. Yeah. And they just did a nice gesture and appreciating my world record in Monaco. Of course, that was historic, and they challenge other sponsors to come on board and have this noble cause. Yeah, and they should.
It's embarrassing, man.
And maybe that's a good start, but they can do more in terms of having grand partnerships with you that would go, say, for 5 years. You know, and that's something that's done worldwide. We were seeing you guys all over the Uganda, that beautiful picture of the entire team in Poland. Yeah. And we were thinking, you remember, sometime back, we had the 3.2 billion campaign on CNN. That's $2 million, you know, gifted by nature. 30-second ad, you know, for 6 months. You know, that we had all the time on all international media, you know, platforms. And it's not just on the day, but it goes on. Every time we are winning, it happens.
Yeah.
So how about you invest back in terms of like the training altitude, you know, getting into incentives and partnerships like he's saying, and then you don't have to pay for those campaigns on international
you don't
media.
have to pay for those campaigns.
Because
Guys,
it comes that way.
We're running out of time. Let me ask Darren, my friend, give me one final comment. You've got 30 seconds. After that, I'll cross over to Max Ali, who also can wrap up his own comments. Darren, I guess I should ask you about the future of Cheptegei. I guess I should ask you about the future of athletics in this country. This man is a legend. The question is, are we ready for more legends in this country?
Certainly a big question, and maybe that's where I should begin quickly, because I've said it on this show before that as you land in Cairo, the capital of Egypt, one picture greets you across many billboards. Mohamed Salah, the Liverpool forward. And, well, everyone knows how important he is to the country. He saw the country, and we just had a conversation on Saturday that the thing that sold Uganda most during the pandemic was none other than the gentleman you're seated next to. Athletics, sport sold Uganda more than anything during the pandemic. Not so many countries are being talked about now around the world, but Cheptegei and Uganda are being discussed. And maybe I had a joke with him and told him, perhaps it takes more pictures with different people who meet him at international airports than he does in Uganda. It implies that perhaps we don't know what we've got. Maybe we'll know some time to come. Like he said, this is just the beginning. The future of athletics, certainly bright. I think there is more in offing, not only on track in long distance, but even in middle distance. We've seen Halima Nakai, we've seen youngsters come through, and tell you what, maybe someday we'll see Joshua and company dominate the world marathon majors.
Darren, as always, asante sana, my friend. Really appreciate. Mark, I'll cross over to you. Exactly 30 seconds for you as well. The champion is here. The world record breaker is here. Your final reaction to his interview today?
No, like I said, I'm just happy to have him on the show. I'm happy that we're hosting him while we're a living legend and have him tell his story. I'd like for him to inspire the kids a little more. Like I said, I asked him a little bit about where the wit and the humor come from. His IQ is definitely high, and also his eloquence and everything. I'd like for him to inspire kids, including my own, about how you do the two and excel at both. But I also, it's beyond me to give advice to somebody who is the greatest of all time, to be honest. But the one thing I'd like to see is for two things. One, for Joshua to keep his feet on the ground and not only give us excellence for a short period, but also show us a bit about longevity.
Okay.
Because while he's inspiring the country about us coming out of our shells and believing in ourselves and being favorites, we also need to stay in sport a little longer and stay on the big stage for a little longer, which is one of the things that we don't have in Ugandan sport. The other thing, of course, is to pick up the rest of the athletes, to pick up the entire Sabini land. We want to have 1,000 Cheptegeis. We want to have many more champions coming out of a region that has been blessed, that the country has been blessed with. Just so, like I said, we keep churning them out. They boost our economy, they boost our esteem, they lift different aspects and sectors of our lives, and largely put us on the map permanently for something which we're clearly becoming the best at. Because just across the border, they've been churning out champions like Joshua for ages and ages and ages. Let's take over.
Okay.
Let's take over.
I really appreciate that, Mark. Asante sana. Thank you very much. Mr. Mwangusha, I think you have exactly 5 seconds. We really are late.
Cheptegei is already a hero by virtue of what he has done. Now, after his revelation that he actually turned down an Arab nation to stay Ugandan.
To change citizenship.
To change citizenship for millions of dollars. And he stayed here where he is not very much assured in terms of the logistics. That in itself makes him, if he's not the greatest of all time yet, because of Olympics, that makes him really the greatest.
Okay, Joshua, finally, I mean, I want you to kind of have your final speech into two parts. One is to the Ugandans, but I'll help you have the final part to the sponsors. You don't worry. You take on the Ugandans at the moment.
To my fellow brothers and sisters, the parents, of course, who have nurtured us, of course, Ugandans, we want to thank you so much. Religious leaders, government, National Council, Dr. Okwel, GS of National Council, Chairman, of course, of National Council, Athletics Federation, and not forgetting the Honorable Minister Hamson Obuo and Mama Janet Museveni, and of course, His Excellency. I want to thank you so much for the efforts that you are undertaking to make the sport. And I want to apologize to the Ugandans who got hurt. I know you might have got hurt by the previous sentiments I shared on the media, but I did not direct it to the general Ugandans. I said specifically to those who might have not really been with me. But then, I want to thank my family. I want to thank my training partners, Kisa, Stephen, and Kiplangat, Victor, and Abel Sigo, and the rest of the athletes in Kapchora and Sabay region. Thank you so much, and thank you to the people of Sabay, Kongay Misin, Kongay Garamon, Achamok. Thank you to Ugandans. I wish you all the best, and God bless you.
Asante sana, Joshua Cheptegei. There you go. Before I give you my final 2 cents on the show tonight, for those of you who have been following the show tonight, we really haven't had time for the Premier League, but it was 2-2 between Everton and Liverpool, 3-3 between Chelsea and Southampton. Man United won a game. They traveled to St. James's Park and beat Newcastle by 4-1. Arsenal were beaten 1-0 by Manchester City. Leicester losing out to Aston Villa as well. 3-3 between Spurs and West Ham after Mourinho's side led by 3-0. And currently Wolves are leading Leeds by 1-0. And finally, on the show tonight, here is my 2 cents. Now, people like Joshua Cheptegei are not going to be here forever. We have made mistakes in the past before while we've celebrated our legends well after they have either retired or actually they have passed by. Now we need to make sure we continue utilizing these moments if we are going to inspire the next generation here in Uganda. People like Joshua Cheptegei need to be held in high regard. The government might be trying to do their best, but clearly they are not doing their best at the moment. We've taken long, whether it's down to training facilities, whether it's giving incentives, things like taxation on sports facilities in this country. Therefore, if the government is really winning and willing to come up and support sport, they need to start showing it a little bit more. And for the youngsters out there, 2017 should be your biggest story. Joshua Cheptegei was struggling in Kololo, but as we speak, he is the most talked about athlete in the world. And finally, for the corporates, for the sponsorship world, folks who can come in and sponsor folks like Cheptegei, you should be ashamed, man. You should be ashamed at the moment. Not so many of you have come out. You should support Ugandan sport by pouring money that can support folks like Cheptegei. Good night.